ॐ नमो नारायणाय। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ श्री गणेशाय नमः। ॐ श्री सरस्वत्यै नमः। ॐ श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। ॐ समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्। ॐ सच्चिदानन्दरूपाय विश्वोत्पत्त्यादिहेतवे तापत्रयविनाशाय श्रीकृष्णाय वयं नुमः। ॐ सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां। हरिः ओम्। सुप्रभातम्। We all are studying Upadesha-sara. This beautiful text is composed by Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi Ji. As we are studying and got to know the first two paths, Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, then Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi Ji is explaining the third path of spirituality. What is that? Ashtanga Yoga. He calls it as Dhyana Yoga. So let us read verse number 11 to verse number 14. Vayurodhanat liyate manah jalpakshivat rodha sadhanam chittavayava चित्क्रियायुताः शाखयोद्वयी शक्तिमूलका लयविनाशने उभयरोधने लयगतं पुनर्भवति नोऽमृतं प्राणबन्धनात् लीनमानसम् एकचिन्तनात् नाशमेत्यदः. In this path of Dhyana Yoga, Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi Ji is explaining us Ashtanga Yoga, which is already beautifully given as well as composed as well as experienced and then explained by Maharshi Patanjali Maharaj. So what is said here, there are two important aspects in this path. What are the two important aspects? One is called as mind, another is called as vital airs. Then it is said this vital air and mind both have one power. What is the power with the mind? That is called as Jnana Shakti. And because of that, it has this capacity to know. It has this capacity to know. Whereas the vital airs, pranas, has this power with it which is called as Kriya Shakti, because of which it has different activities. It is having a function of different activities. Then it is said both these powers are coming from one source. That one source is Maya. Maya Shakti, the divine power of the Bhagavan. Then it is said the mind, which is controlled or restrained by restraining the vital airs, definitely it reaches to the state of absorption, but it remains there as far as we keep having this force of vital airs in our control, and therefore it remains steady, it remains absorbed. But the moment you stop doing it, the mind goes back to its original state. That means restraining the pranas, restraining the vital air, and by which when the mind goes into the state of absorption, that state is a temporary state. But this absorbed mind, when it is put on one track of Chintanam, then it is said how this mind remains Pranabandhanat Liyamanasam Ekachintanat Nashyametyadaha. This mind completely get destroyed. And we were last time discussing what is called as destruction. So understand, cause is one. Cause is one. Effects are many. Cause is one. Effects are many. So now I will tell you the cause of all different experiences and attraction or the repulsion of these experiences are because of one and one reason, is because of the ignorance. That's the cause. So the mind gets attracted towards something, as well as mind goes into a repulsive state, is because of one and one reason, is because of the ignorance. So this ignorance is destroyed. This ignorance is completely destroyed. When the ignorance is destroyed, then the mind does not have this sort of attraction and repulsion. Please note this. And when there is no sort of compulsion in the action, then that mind is a free mind. Please understand, that mind which does not have now compulsion for any action, also that mind does not have compulsory repulsion from some action, that mind is free mind. That mind is called as Nashthamanasaha. That mind is a no mind, called as mind is destroyed. So we have understood, it is not destruction of the mind, that means there is no mind, not like that. Mind remains there, but it remains in an absolute pure form. We will see now how Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi Ji explains this state of Nashtamaanasaha. Then he says, Nashtamaanasaha Utkrishtayoginah Krutyamasti kim Svasthitim yatah Nashtamaanasaha Utkrishtayoginah Krutyamasti kim Svasthitim yatah. Let us see first the meaning of the verse. Nashtamanasa, a person whose mind is now destroyed, or the mind has been destroyed. Utkrishta yoginaha. Who is this yogi? This is the Utkrishta yogi. That person who has reached to this state where the mind is completely destroyed, that person is called as Yogi Utkrishta. Utkrishta means supreme one. Kim Krutyamasti. Now for such person, where there is any Kartavya karma, there is no Kartavya karma for it. There is no obligatory duty for such person. Yat Swasthitim, as this person abides in the self. So, let us first focus on Kim Krutyam Asti. That means this person, where is something to do or to not to do. So, let us focus on this and understand this aspect first. Vedas are there to tell us whose duty is what. So, duties are given as per our two important aspects of human existence. Two important aspects of human existence. What is that? The first is, what is our ashrama dharma? What is our ashrama dharma? Ashrama means there are 4 different stages of life. First stage is brahmacharya, second stage is grihastha, third stage is vanaprastha, the fourth is sannyasa. So as per the ashrama, the stage of life, now there is a dharma called as duty. So this is called as injunction of our scripture, that if somebody is studying, that is called as brahmacharya ashram, one who should gain the knowledge to have his life in a better way, in a right understanding and focusing towards the higher. For that, knowledge is required. So that stage is called as brahmacharya state. There certain obligatory duties are given. Now, next ashram is grihastha ashram, where one has to righteously earn money. One has to righteously earn money by doing a righteous action. Then that money which is gained, then that money can be utilized for completing our desires as well as the desires of the family. So this is an obligatory duty of grihastha ashram. Then comes vanaprastha ashram. Having completed the duty of grihastha ashram, now one has to rise above and do a upasana. That means take up a very strong spiritual practices in life and reduce your actions and increase your upasana. Upasana means increase your spiritual practice. That is an obligatory duty of the vanaprastha ashram. Then comes a sannyasa ashram. Sannyasa ashram, the duty is one must continuously engage in study the scriptures and explain the meaning of the scriptures to everyone, as well as love everyone equally without keeping any duality in the mind. So, these are the duties prescribed, or these are the duties which we are gaining, or it comes to us as a scriptural injunction. Now let us talk of this, where Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi says that Krutyam Astikim, there is no duty for a person who has realized the self. That is the point. For one and one person only there is no duty. So Bhagavan Krishna in Bhagavad Gita says, Yasvat maratireva syat, Yatsvat maratireva syat, Atmatruptascha manavaha, Atmatruptascha manavaha, Atmanneva cha santushtaha, Atmanneva cha santushtaha, Tasya karyam na vidyate, Tasya karyam na vidyate. This is the verse, shloka from chapter number 3, verse number 1717, where Bhagavan is explaining that one who has now nothing to gain to fulfill his desire, because he has risen to that level where his mind is completely pure and now reflecting absolute consciousness, and because of this purity and the complete reflection of the consciousness, there is no trace of incompleteness at all. So note now, when there is an incompleteness in mind, there a person has obligatory duties to do. But when there is no incompleteness at all, the mind is completely pure. Incomplete mind is because of ignorance. That means today I have something which I want to gain to be happy. This is called as state of ignorance. When today I want to do something to become happy, that means this person is not experiencing happiness as his nature. Please note this. This person is not experiencing happiness as its nature, and therefore one must try, or one has to try to remove this feeling of incompleteness of mind, and therefore action is must now. Therefore action is must, because we can't stand to the incompleteness of the mind, because everyone wants to reach to that state of completeness, because that's our nature. So one must strive hard to remove this incompleteness. This where we have to do, which is called as obligatory duties, how to do your actions. But once by right means, by right knowledge, when the ignorance is completely destroyed, then there is no trace of ignorance remained. Example, when there is a light everywhere, do you require a torch light to search any object in the room? Not at all, because now the sunlight is so bright and every object of the room is beautifully seen. It is not required now to use some other light to search any object. Similarly, the mind now has no trace of ignorance, and therefore there is no egocentric desire left in the mind. There is no egocentric desire left in the mind. And this mind, which is a pure mind now, this mind is a complete mind. And this mind, or this person who has this mind, does not have any obligatory duty at all. Any obligatory duty at all. So, how is this person working now? Because loka sangrahamevapi. Because when you have reached to that state of happiness, let us do our right effort to make people understand how to reach to this state of happiness. Like our Pujya Gurudev, Swami Chinmayanand Ji, he has experienced that supreme state of happiness, and then he has worked so hard for whole of his life to make everyone understand how is the real nature and the experience of that real nature of our own. By doing right spiritual practice, one can experience it. So this is the Krutyamasti Kim Swastitim Yataha. Now this point we are going to focus. Swastitim Yataha. This person is now resting without any sort of turbulence, without any sort of agitation. Now please understand, mind is such which will have a thoughts. Please understand, mind will have thoughts, and the thoughts are of different nature because of the Prakriti Guna, because of gunas of the Prakriti, like Sattva Guna, Rajasika Guna and Tamasika Guna. So when there is a Sattva, means predominance of the Sattva, the mind remains no doubt at the best level of equilibrium, called as balanced state. But it does not mean there is no Rajasic Guna in this person at all. No, it's not true. There is no Tamasic Guna, this is also not true. Rajasic and Tamasic Guna are very much present there, but because of the predominance of the Sattva, even though a thought of Rajas comes, this predominant Sattva can dissolve that thought very easily. Similarly, if some negative thought comes because of the Tamasic Guna, the predominance of the Sattva can really dissolve that thought also. Now, a very practical example for this. Our government is continuously telling everyone to get vaccinated for this pandemic which is called as COVID-19. Why is it so? Because if you have a good immunity of this COVID-19, then even though if you get infected by some means, what will happen? Your infection will be very less and easily manageable. Why? Because you have already developed the antibodies against this virus. Similarly, this person who has predominance of the Sattva Guna can easily overcome this sort of Rajasic and Tamasic thought, even if it comes because of the Prakriti Guna. So, Swastitim is, there is no disturbance because of Rajas and Tamas. Whereas, in case of ignorant person, there is a continuous disturbance, and then what happens? There one has to restrain it by using some power, some technique. So again the action is required. So see, important point is, here it is said, what is the action in this path of Dhyana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga? Controlling or restraining the breath. So such person controls the mind by restraining the vital airs called as breathing, and then for a good sufficient time again he can reduce his or her agitation. But the moment you leave this, it again goes back. But one who adds up to the Ekachintanam, one who understands, as Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi ji explaining, that this vital airs, and by restraining the vital airs, mind cannot get destroyed at all. That's the point to be noted. Mind cannot get destroyed by just doing pranayama. So that is a point. So what is required? Ekachintanam. So we have seen Ekachintanam of what? Ekachintanam of the Karana. What is that Karana? Brahma is a cause of whole universe. And one is a cause. And that one is only real. So one has to continuously focus on that real. So that which is real, that which is nityam, ekam brahma, tadvyatiriktam sarvam anityam. So you can now appreciate, and now you can really focus. One who has developed this thought, one who has developed this thought, or one who has developed this art. Which art? To focus on real amongst the unreal. To focus on real amongst the unreal. So let me give you an example. The example is, if you are amongst a very disturbing situation, and that disturbing situation, you understand it as drishyam, called as seen. So that which is seen is insentient, that which is impermanent, that which is temporary. Shift your attention to that which is sentient, that which is permanent, that which is eternal. So this shifting of the complete your attention from the seen to the seer, from drishya to the seer, called as from the object to the witness, that is required, where the mind cannot get disturbed even though around us there is a disturbing situation. It happens because of the predominance of the sattva guna of the mind, and that's called as the purity of the mind. And there, this person now who has gained this complete purity, who has gained this abidance in the self, then Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi ji explains how does he remain completely there and forever he remains abiding in the self. How? Verse number 16. Drishyavaritam chittamatmana, Drishyavaritam chittamatmana, Chitvadarshanam Tatvadarshanam, Chitvadarshanam Tatvadarshanam. Very beautifully explained now. Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi says, Chittam. Now one word you have to be very clear about. Chittam here means mind. Chittam here means mind. Chittam Drishyavaritam. That mind withdrawn from all the objects. Drishya means that which is seen. That which is seen are all the objects. So the mind which is withdrawn from all the objects. Atmanah chitva darshanam. For such mind, now which is completely withdrawn from the objects outside, turns towards the self. That's the point. Turn towards the self. Then this mind, chitva darshanam, gets the vision of that consciousness. Vision of that consciousness. That vision is called as tattva darshanam. That is called as vision of reality. Okay. Now this verse is very important. I will answer your question, Parveen Amma, at the end of my lecture. Okay. So this tattva darshanam is vision of the reality. Okay. Now one point we will take it up. Please pay attention. Very important verse. First to understand and then to reach there. Ask this question. What is the final effect of this sadhana which is called as dhyana yoga? This is the first question. What is the final ultimate result of this sadhana? So what is the answer? Vision of reality. That is the answer. Vision of reality. That is the ultimate effect of this sadhana. Second question. What does it mean called as reality? What does it mean called as reality? Experiencing one's own nature. Experiencing one's own true nature as a consciousness. Experiencing one's own true nature as consciousness. That is called as here reality. Next question. That tattva darshanam, where it is beautifully mentioned here, is now explained in Bhagavad Gita how? नासतो विद्यते भावः ना भावो विद्यते सतः उभयोरपि दृष्टोऽन्तः अनयोस्तत्त्वदर्शिभिः. Now one point here. First, नासतो विद्यते भावः असतः bhavaha na vidyate. This is the first statement. Asata means that which is unreal. Bhava na vidyate, that means asataha, that is unreal. Unreal does not have its own independent existence. That's the meaning. Second, sataha abhavaha na vidyate. That means real exists independently. It never non-existence. So these are the two important aspects. The first aspect is unreal does not have its independent existence, and that which is called as real, which remains as independent, which exists as independent entity, and therefore to it has no non-existence. Now this beautiful point you have to understand and note. Avidyamanattvena avidyamanattvena bhasamanatvam avidyamanattvena bhasamanatvam mithyatvam iti uchyate. avidyamana tvena. That means it appears but it does not have its own real independent existence. That is called as avidyamana. But bhasate, that is called as it has its appearance. So that which appears but it does not have its own existence, it does not have its own independent existence, that entity is called as mithya. Hope it is clear now. So please understand, even though objects will be there, how this person of vision of reality sees all these objects. All these objects for this person is a mithya. And that which is mithya, how can you get deluded by it at all? This is the point. Therefore, this person, one who is continuously abiding in the self, he sees both. Now you understand how Bhagavan Krishna ji is explaining. Ubhayorapi drishtontaha. It is not he is abiding in the self and not seeing the world. He sees the world, but he sees the world as mithya. He sees the world as mithya. And therefore, there is no disturbance which can happen. Example is simple. If we are traveling by car on road, and if it's a summer season, what happens? We see pool of water on the road, and as if it is a river. But we understand and we know that whatever we see now here is a mirage water. And that mirage water is just an appearance. I don't have to stop my car, put my brake and then slow down my speed and then say, oh, let my car not get drained or so called as spoiled by this muddy water or so called as water. Oh my dear, there is no water there and there is no such thought at all. Similarly, this person who has this vision of reality does not get affected by the objects around or the people around, because he sees everything as an illusion because of his vision of reality. This vision of reality is abidance in the self. Now sometimes people understand vision means something which you gain by some action, like attitude change from selfish to selfless. That's an attitude. So you can call as now the vision of this person is selfless. Yes, it's also a true statement, but that does not mean that what is called as abidance in the self. So this vision change is not something related to any object or any attitude. Please note it. This vision change or this vision of reality is not because of attitude or not because of any sort of other understanding, but it is abidance in the self, and that's called as here Tattva Darshanam. That's called as here Tattva Darshanam. Ubhayorapi drishtontaha. Now here it is said, both unreal is seen as mithya and real is seen as the eternal principle, that which is existence, consciousness and bliss. Ubhayorapi drishtontaha tattva-darshipihi. That person, he who sees the truth, has this capacity to understand real as real and unreal as unreal. Now what happens for a common person? Because of the ignorance, we cannot see things as it is. As in the case of Arjuna, the same thing happened. He could not see the situation as it is. He has colored the situation because of his own emotional turbulence, and therefore he got dragged away in that state of ignorance. But one who reaches to this state, called as one who gains this vision of reality, no more there is called as any disturbance, or there cannot be any disturbance. Understand? The mind, when it is there, as I have explained, because of predominance of the sattva, the rajas and tamas thoughts can be taken care very easily. And that's how this path gives the completion of spiritual practices. Now Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi Ji is turning towards his favorite path. His favorite path is a direct path, where the path is called as path of knowledge. Now please understand, what is the difference between this path, and next session we will take up this path. The difference between these paths, here in the Karma Yoga, there was action and the attitude of the action. So there is something to do with. Then in case of Bhakti Yoga, there was a support which was required, and that support then took this person to the state of reality. And in this path of Dhyana Yoga, also there was a support of this first level, which is called as vital S, and then Eka Chintanam, and that's how then only he reached to that state of final vision of reality. Now, Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi says, this path, which is called as path of knowledge, is called as a path of enquiry. This is called as path of enquiry. This path of enquiry is only possible to those people, those who have subtle mind. This is very important. This path is only possible for those who have developed this subtle mind. Okay, now this is the first qualification required. When subtle mind is there, the intellect is sharp. So the second qualification is sharp intellect is required. Why it is so? Because here there is no external support at all. Here there will be no external support. So therefore a gross mind cannot understand how to go ahead, because mind always, a gross mind always works with support. That is the point. A gross mind always works with support. Directly this mind cannot be put without support and then say you just go ahead in the path of spirituality. It is not possible. So therefore, one must know that one who has this gross mind has to take up first different sadhanas, make one's own mind subtle, called as sufficient purity of the mind. What is called as subtle mind? Sufficient purity of the mind. Now please don't ask me question that, Swamiji, what do you mean by sufficient purity? Can you tell us in percentage how much percent a mind should be pure? Now, can you see the mind and then you say this much purity of the percent? This is not right way. So I can give you another sort of suggestion. What is called as purity of mind? You have gained a good balanced state of mind. Your mind does not get agitated off and on. So that will be an indication of gaining a sufficient purity of the mind. Because this question is asked by someone, so I said let me explain to everyone what is called as sufficient purity of the mind. So where our mind definitely gets disturbed, but quickly it comes back to the state of balance. So that is called as sufficient purity. It does not require 1, 2, 3 days to come back to the normal. It can come normal in few minutes or in few hours of time. So that's called as sufficient purity. So here what is an inquiry? Now Bhagavan Ramanshi says, what is a cause of disturbance? First you have to find out that. What is a cause of disturbance? Because generally it is a case like, I am giving an example of a field of medicine. What do they do? Now there is a fever. So they says, okay, you take this medicine and fever will go. What is happening here? This doctor is removing the symptom of the disease. Symptom of the disease by giving a paracetamol. But by taking a paracetamol, please understand the cause which is there as an infection cannot go at all. So Ramana Maharshi ji says, first enquire what is a cause of disturbance, and before this enquiry do not go and jump into any conclusion. Similarly, in our life also, we should be able to follow that. First understand what is the cause of the disturbance. Start this practice of going and asking to the root of your disturbance. Hit that root of your disturbance, which is called as enquiry. And this enquiry we are going to start tomorrow. Okay, path of knowledge. So Parveen Amma wanted to ask something. You can ask Amma now if you are there. Parveen Sharma Amma, are you there? Otherwise then we'll start our meditation session. Okay. So let us take a stable posture. Keep your back straight. Keep your neck also straight, and check that all your body parts are comfortable now. Put your hands on both of your legs comfortably and see to it that now there is no discomfort in any of your body part. If you have anything, you can remove by just moving it slight here and there. Now close your eyes. Check your facial muscles are relaxed and you have a pleasant expression or feeling on your whole mind level as well as intellectual level. Let us do the prana vikshana. What is called as prana vikshana? Observing one's own breath, not trying to forcefully take air inside or try to suppress or restrained air. Both are not required. Just observe your own breathing pattern. The air which is coming in mind you can label it, count the number 1, 2, 3. The air which goes inside fills up our lungs and comes out. 3, 2, 1. Let us focus on this breathing for a minute. No forceful breathing. Let your breathing be normal, rhythmic and complete. Having gained a good one-pointedness, let us turn towards the mind and recollect all the important discussion part of today's session. Nashtamanasa उत्कृष्टयोगिनः कृत्यमस्ति किं स्वस्तितिं यतः. That mind which is absorbed is put to one continuous thought called as contemplation, and because of this contemplation now, one is slowly reaching to that state where the ignorance of the mind is completely removed, and therefore there is a vision of consciousness. This vision of consciousness is called as vision of reality. We have seen today how the scriptural injunction is for a person who has some desires to fill up his own incompleteness of the mind. But one who has gained this vision of reality is now completely abiding in the self, and therefore there is no incompleteness remained at all. Such person is called as Utkrishta Yogi, where there is no agitation of the mind and there is a complete vision of reality. So we have seen how this vision of reality is gained. By gaining the right knowledge, understanding the world of object to be unreal, mithya, and therefore focusing on that which is real and abiding in the real. Real which exists independently, unreal which does not have any independent existence. So we have seen, by taking an example of mirage water, though it's there, but it does not affect us at all. Our journey, that is road journey, if we are going somewhere by car, continues even if you see the mirage water. Similarly, in life, because of the vision of reality, the journey continues without any disturbance because of abundance in the self. Though all the objects and the people around are there, but now there is no disturbance from them at all. Shanti. 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 Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Have a gratitude for the Almighty Lord, whose Krupa gave us this knowledge and these beautiful moments of life. Also have a gratitude for one and all around us, for supporting to be what we are today. Check your mind. Feel that silence within you. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Om Namo Narayanaya.